Hi, folks. Good evening. It is truly a privilege to be here representing and accepting on behalf of my dear friend. Thank you for that montage. That was beautiful. It made me smile. I hope it made you smile, too. Give me a warm feeling inside to remember some of those amazing moments from Lee Corso's career in College GameDay. Coach is doing just fine. Let me say that off the top. He is doing well. Talked to him yesterday. Talked to him a few times in the last couple of weeks. He sounded great. He was deeply flattered, deeply grateful, moved to be included in this Hall of Fame. Wanted me to convey that. He also was pumped up about the Indiana Hoosiers. We talked football after we got past my marching order for tonight. And to have one of the schools where he coached have a Heisman Trophy winner, be ranked number one, be going to the Rose Bowl. We talked for a long time about the Hoosiers. His passion for college football endures and always will. You know him as an entertainer, one of the great showmen, as Kirk said, in the history of TV sports. He was that. It was natural to him. It was an extension of his career as a coach. But he was more than that, too. He was the conscience of the show. He represented all coaches. His passion for the sport ran so deep. It was contagious with our staff. And we wanted to just match that and always give that to our viewers on Saturday. And I can't tell you how many times over and over and over again people will come up to him and to us and say, Lee Corso is the reason why I love college football. That was the initial spark to get me interested, get me enthused, and make me passionate about the sport, was seeing his antics on Saturday morning. And that's a great gift. And he was humbled by that, made him feel tremendous knowing the impact that he would have on the sport that he loved through television. His passion for the sport goes back to his days as a player. He was a really damn good football player at Florida State, two-way star, starting quarterback, starting defensive back. The Sunshine Scooter, undersized but fast, scrappy, tough, smart. Burt Reynolds was his roommate. They were a devastating tandem. Lee always used to say between his car and Burt's looks, a powerful recruiting tandem for the double dates down in Tallahassee. And their antics in Juarez when they played in the Sun Bowl crossing the border cannot be repeated here, but we're part of the Corso lore and legend. His passion for the sport carried into coaching. As an assistant coach in Maryland, he recruited Darrell Hill to break the color barrier in ACC football. It was the most important recruit that he ever gained, and he knew exactly how to reach Darrell by challenging him, by telling him how tough it was going to be, and wondering aloud if Darrell was going to be up to it. And Darrell told me recently that's exactly the approach he needed to take. Challenge Darrell to go there and succeed. And to have Darrell with Lee the day before his final game day in Columbus, seated at the table with Tom Jackson, whom he coached at Louisville, the greatest player he ever coached and the most important recruit he ever had, sitting with him, Nick Saban joining the table, says everything about Lee Corso as a coach. He felt he left part of himself with every player he ever coached. He was beloved by his players, and that was also very powerful to him. He also inspired many folks by battling back following a stroke. As most of you know, he suffered a stroke, and it was in the spring, so he had months to try to relearn how to speak. And all of us were terrified. Would the mind and the mouth mesh when the lights came on? That had never been a problem for him. A natural communicator as you could ever have, but we were scared. And that day in Atlanta, somehow, through sheer guts and will and good fortune and a lot of prayer, it worked. And Lee said that learning how to speak again was the hardest thing he ever had to do. And there were other episodes that challenged him along the way. He's 90 years old now. That's why he doesn't get on airplanes anymore and come to these things in person. We can forgive him after 4 decades of traveling and being 90. But those days after the stroke, when he showed what he was made of, we could all breathe and just savor in having him around again and again. And for stroke victims to come up to him for many years after that and said, you showed me what was possible. You gave me hope. That also meant a great deal to him. This honor means a great deal to him. He was deeply moved and humbled to be involved in a Hall of Fame class that included Greg Gumbel, includes Pam Oliver, includes former College GameDay guest picker Jerry Jones, a couple of times, among other achievements. So, great pride. I will convey your best wishes to him, and we'll see Lee Corso back around. He's He's having a tough time missing college football. Frankly, it's been tough for him to be away from it. But I asked him yesterday, sum up what your broadcasting career meant to you. And he said it meant everything to him. It allowed him to stay connected with the sport that he loves, made him feel young to be around all these young, vital players that come through wave after wave into our sport. And it kept him going, he said. And that's a precious gift that fans everywhere gave him. He's also a great stickler for time, besides being very frugal and stealing our catering table so he didn't have to order room service. Never valet parking his car because he wanted to save ESPN money, because God knows we're strapped. So every valet tip that he could save the company he wanted to. Never accepted private travel. He was a frugal guy. He was concerned about time. He was never late. He was always early. He never wanted to waste a second, which is why I have my phone in my pocket with the stopwatch on. And besides the financial disincentive to go long, I want to do him right, and I want to tell him, Lee, I kept under the 7 minutes, and I said what you wanted me to say, and report back to him that way. On behalf of all those who love him, who work with him, and to the many, many millions who consider him an important figure in your life, thank you so much for this great honor, and he appreciates it deeply. Enjoy the rest, and congratulations to the rest of the Hall of Famers, folks. Good evening.